Hello there, welcome to the broadcast, Naj here, and today I thought I'd do something a little different. A few weeks ago I hit the big 3-0. 30 years on this planet, which means about 25 years of gaming, and it got me feeling nostalgic about all the birthdays I had as a child, where I'd count down the days to unwrapping those brand new games I've been asking for months. So I thought I'd give you guys 5 of my top birthday video game memories I hold dear to my heart. Now these aren't by any means my favourite games or anything like that, just 5 memories of birthdays long gone that had some kind of impact on my gaming life. But before I begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to catch all my upcoming videos, and let me know in the comments below which games remind you of the good old days. Number 1, starting with the oldest game on this list, is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis on the PS1, which was, if memory serves me correctly, my first ever horror game I owned, and I got this for my 7th birthday in the year 2000. I remember vividly I used to play Resi 2 around my cousin's house, which was the first time I ever saw such horror on screen in a video game, and I always looked forward to paying them a visit so I could see exactly where he was in the game and get a little sneak peek behind closed doors without my parents seeing. It was like I was breaking every rule in the house, and I was scared at night to go to sleep, but my parents would wonder why. Skip forward a little, I somehow came across a collection of demo discs on the PS1, and one of them included a demo of Silent Hill, which I would play with one eye open over and over again. And I remember wanting this for my birthday at the time, but I think my parents were a little worried this might be a bit too much for a 7-year-old, so naturally they bought me Resident Evil 3 instead, because that is obviously far more appropriate. And this is probably one of the most historic gaming memories, as I would say Resi 3 was the start of my love of survival horror. Having friends over, playing through it together, uncertain of when we might next touch cloth, from Nemesis jumping through a window, it was an event for us, and I immediately knew what I wanted for my next birthday. All the other Resi games. I've still got my copy to this day, a remnant of a time long past, and it may not be the greatest Resi game, but it remains my most appreciated and my favourite purely for nostalgic reasons. Number 2 goes to, and hear me out before you throw down some heavy hitting vocal combos in the comments below, Devil May Cry 2. Alright, so the first Devil May Cry game was phenomenal back in the day. I remember getting the demo disc with Resident Evil Code Veronica X, and I rinsed more hours into that than I did Code Veronica itself. When I finally got the full game, I never played anything quite like it, so from the day I saw the first trailer for DMC 2, I was as jittery as a crack fiend being promised their next hit. I'd watch the trailer over and over again. Dante can shoot his guns in 2 different directions now? What? He has some cool new moves with his sword, boss battles look so epic, I mean one of them is a goddamn building. Another playable character? She hot too. And guess what? It didn't disappoint 10-year-old me on my first double-digit birthday when I would play it for hours day after day on my little 15-inch TV barely balancing high up on top of a wardrobe. It was perfection, minus the constant neck pain. Now of course I have played DMC 2 in more recent years, and I can confirm it is one of the biggest steaming piles of shit I've ever played. Story is basically non-existent, enemy AI is piss poor, the guns are so powerful it's pointless doing anything else, and it's somewhat of an improved combo counter, but the enemies are so easy to kill that you rarely get above a C rank, because the demons give up and die before you can get any higher. But still to this day, none of that can destroy the nostalgic childhood memories of my 10th birthday, where at least one person in the world enjoyed Devil May Cry 2. And even now I do think it has some redeeming qualities to it, like the actual visual design of Dante is awesome, probably my favourite design yet, and the entries that followed have to give thanks to DMC 2 for it attempting to advance the series at least, introducing new but poorly executed mechanics. It was a case of it was learning to walk so Devil May Cry 3 could run. Number 3 on the list goes to Doom 3, a gift from my brother on my 12th birthday in 2005. The original Doom was one of the first games we got on the PS1 back in the 90s, and I remember the whole family would be sat on the couch as me, my brother and sister would pass around the controller slaying demons, whilst our parents would be the strategists, saying things like, that wall over there looks a little different, maybe it's a door. Staying up past our bedtime on a weekend smashing through it was a real treat. Doom 3 was a completely different beast to the games that came before it, being a more horror focused title as opposed to Doom staple fast paced shooter gameplay, and one might say it's the least Doom game there is. But it was still a great game in its own right. At the time I remember having a birthday party with my friends at my house, and after they all went home my mum would usually keep the party going with her friends and some family, and I would be curled up in my room lights off playing Doom 3. What I specifically remember about it though was uncles and cousins coming into the room not to see me, but to see Doom 3 running on the brand new Xbox with its excellent graphics and atmosphere, being amazed at how far games had come since the original Doom. Felt like I was in possession of some ancient mystical relic that fascinated everyone, even if they didn't know diddly squat about video games. And if that made them blink twice, on the same birthday I actually got Resident Evil 4 as well from my mum. You should have seen their faces when I slapped that bad boy in for the first time, and I think the moment I played Resident Evil 4 for the first time coincided with the exact moment I hit puberty. Next, number 4, we have a very special birthday. The next year on my 13th, My very generous mother bought me a shiny Xbox 360, and with it, Perfect Dark Zero. Now, a reason why this memory has been living in my mind rent-free all these years was, one, because it was the next generation of gaming at the time and it was all the rage, but more so the fact that my 360 did not come with a memory card or one of those external hard drives you had to pop on the top of the console, as my mum didn't realise it didn't come with storage. But did I care? Not at all. It wasn't until the next weekend we were able to spare the time to go into town to buy a memory card, so this meant for an entire week, every day after school I would play Perfect Dark Zero from the beginning. I was just blown away by how incredible the graphics were, how fun the gameplay was, and I must have played through that opening level at least 7 times over the course of a week as I was unable to save it. One might think this would get quite tedious, but to tell the truth I loved it because every time I played it I got a little better, quicker, and would always progress just a tiny bit by the time I had to go to bed. So every time I played it I'd feel excitement as I neared a part I had not played before, and accomplishment that I was able to get that little bit further. Good times. And the final one on this list, well, it's a big one. 12th of June, 2008. For many, it was my 15th birthday. Family and friends would be counting down the days to celebrate the birth of a legend. For me, it was the release date of Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots on PS3, and there was only one legend I was interested in. I wasn't counting down the days to my birthday like most kids, I was counting down the days to Solid Snake's final mission. Only 101 more days to go. The day came, I awoke, rushed to school because I thought the quicker I got there, the quicker the day would end. After school I'd walk round to my dad's house, who I knew had paid a visit to the local Blockbuster to buy the game for me. It was no secret, he was just excited for it as I was. We both loved Metal Gear, and each new game that came out we would play together. For him, it wasn't his son's birthday, it was the release date of Metal Gear Solid 4. I walked back to his house after school, and in hand, he held a wrapped box. The shape was clearly a video game, he even wrapped it for me. I tore off the paper and there it was, in all its glory. The day had finally come. We spent all evening, all weekend blazing through it, and it sure was a masterpiece. Despite seeing every trailer a dozen times, it still surprised me at just how epic it was, and MGS4 wasn't just a great birthday present, it was one of the best bonding experiences I've ever had with my dad, and it is a game I will forever cherish, as I will for the entire series for that matter, not just because they are some of the best games ever made, but because of how awesome the weekends were going to my dad's house so we could sit back, stuff our faces with Chinese takeaway, and get lost in some tactical espionage action. My 15th birthday was probably the most excited I've ever been for a birthday in my 30 years on this earth. And boy, was it worth the wait. And those are just 5 of my great gaming birthday memories. Something I'm very grateful for. Being someone who now has to buy their own games, you soon realise how expensive these things are, and if you were as fortunate as I was having a great family who went out of their way to treat you on your special day, then it's our duty to let them know just how grateful we are, now and then. Oh, and what did I get for my 30th birthday? Street Fighter 6 and money to pre-order Final Fantasy 16. Looks like no matter how old you get, some things never change.